Hey boys and girls, it is week 6, Wednesday, 4/29, and we are continuing to learn about the properties of quadrilaterals with this Basketball Quadrilaterals Google Slides activity. Alright, and just noticing that time is really zooming by, and the whole month of April is almost all gone. We got the month of May, a little bit of June, and then it's going to be summer vacation. Okay, so let's take a look at this particular activity. All right, at the top of this activity, it gives us all of the background knowledge we need to know about classifying quadrilaterals. If you did not watch the video on classifying quadrilaterals from yesterday's lesson, Tuesday, you can go back to that in the classworks and click on week 6 quadrilateral instruction video. If you can say that better than me, try it. And then you'll have a rundown of different quadrilaterals and their properties. All right, so this activity also gives us the different properties of a quadrilateral. So we're going to quickly go through this. It has exactly 4 sides to it. They're straight sides. You can classify a quadrilateral by its parallel lines. This particular quadrilateral has 2 sets of parallel lines. One set is blue. The second set is green. You can classify a quadrilateral by its perpendicular lines. This particular quadrilateral, this rectangle, it has 4 corners that have the perpendicular lines intersecting at right angles. So it has 4 right angles, and that's indicated by this blue L that they've put on it. You can also classify a quadrilateral by its angles. This particular angles in this quadrilateral are either obtuse or acute. It has no right angles. Another way to classify a quadrilateral is by its congruent sides. Congruent means they are the same size. So this has 2 sets of congruent sides. One is indicated by the pink single line, and then the second one is indicated by 2 green lines. Another way to classify a quadrilateral is by its line of symmetry. This rhombus has 1 line of symmetry. Some quadrilaterals have more than 1 line of symmetry. The line of symmetry divides it into similar looking shapes. Okay, in this activity, you're going to have several slides with a quadrilateral on them, and you are going to be dragging a label to label each of the properties of the quadrilateral. You want to use as many of these as possible on each of the quadrilaterals given. All right, so the first slide, slide 9, is done for you. On the left-hand side over here, you have your glossary with all the different symbols that you're going to use on the quadrilateral in the basketball court. All right, so this particular quadrilateral was a rectangle. It has 2 sets of parallel lines. One set is blue, and they have stretched that right here, dragged and dropped and stretched it. The second set is green. It has 2 pairs of congruent sides. So they've taken one and indicated that with the pink line and put the other one on the other side. And then they did the same thing with the second pair with the 2 green lines on opposite sides. It has 4 right angles on it, so they have put the perpendicular line symbol on each of these corners. There are no obtuse or acute angles in this shape, but it does have 2 lines of symmetry. 2 lines because it can be done vertically. It has 2 similar shapes, and then horizontally, and we have 2 similar shapes. They're congruent shapes that it's divided it into. Okay, on this rhombus, we're going to try to drag and drop these properties onto the shape itself. So I can look at the rhombus and I can see it has 2 sets of parallel lines. So I want to come over here to my first set and I want to click on it and then I want to drag it over to my shape. And then I can take these ends and put one end here, and then I'm going to click and drag the other end of the point down here. Alright, now I can either copy and paste and make another one like this and then bring it over here, or I can come back over to my glossary site over here and click it again. It highlights it, and then once my little arrow is now like a little cross thing, that means I can pick it up and drag it over. And then I'm going to do the same thing, stretching it out to show these lines. Can be a little tricky. Okay, there we go. Alright, there are no perpendicular lines on the shape, but it does have two sets of congruent sides. Now if I want to rotate that around, I sit it where I need it to be, and then I'm going to go at one end of it, and I'm just going to move it around. Yeah, or just leave it like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my second set of congruent lines. Alright, looking good. Alright, now this shape does have two lines of symmetry. There's a line of symmetry splitting it this way into two triangles, and then again this way into two triangles. So I'm going to show that with my symmetry lines here. Or I'm going to try to. Yeah, that thing's going to jump all over the place. There we go. I'm going to right click on that. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to paste. And maybe I'll have two of them that are long. Yep, there it is. Alright, I've identified everything that this rhombus has in the way of properties that would allow it to be a rhombus. Alright, boys and girls, you have several of these to do. The very last slide is a little bit different. On this last slide, you're going to be typing in some of the properties of each of these quadrilaterals. And it's a little confusing because it says can have and must have. Alright, so I know that a rectangle must have right angles, or those perpendicular sides. A square must have those right angles and equal length sides. A parallelogram, it must have two sets of parallel lines. Over here in the can have, for a parallelogram, it can have equal length sides, which is also a rhombus. But since a rhombus is a parallelogram, it can have equal length sides. It doesn't have to, but it must have the two sets of parallel sides. So you're going to continue on in this way, putting your notes that you know it must have. And if you can think of some of the can haves to put over here, you can. But your main area of focus is over here in the must have. All right, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed this Google slide. I will see you later. Bye-bye.